Hey guys, so there's this really popular talk going around called hashtag WTFU. Where's the fair use? And I think that probably most YouTubers have a decent amount of experience with copyright claims and things of that nature, especially most certainly people who make things like me or people who have had as much experience as me. So I'll give you a little background. I've been doing things on YouTube on one channel or another since about 2006. Okay, some time there. So almost 10 years, maybe over 10 years. I have no idea. I don't even remember my first channel. I only remember my second and third. But which is probably good. It's probably for the best that I don't even remember any of that. I remember kind of how I would do it. Like I used to do like vlog type stuff or like just really bad skits with one of my friends. He actually was the one who ran the channel. Like I didn't really mess with it a lot. Anyway, enough of that. I have had a plethora of experience from this because for a while I jumped between networks, and for a while I was a part of a network. So understanding this became a something that I the position I was at, I wasn't really compelled to understand it, but from a personal level, I really wanted to try and understand it and find a way to be like, hey, dude, chill out, man. You don't need to put a copyright claim on this. Now, I've gotten one copyright strike in my entirety, which is fantastic that only one. And it's funny because I got it and I immediately was able to get it revoked. And I'm going to say this vaguely because I don't want anyone to know what it was. Because the people who did it, the company that I was able to contact who did it were really nice, and they took it away pretty much immediately. I was just like, hey, you guys don't like this. That's apparent. I mean, you gave me a strike. I've never even received a strike before. So what I want to do is not put any more of this up for you guys. So you guys don't mess with me. That sounds cool. Now, I believe that I should have been allowed to do it though. I should have been allowed to use the videos. They just had, or they didn't want people having access to what I was doing. I didn't even do a gameplay video. It was for a game, but I did a tutorial on how to access a free-to-play game. Okay. Now this game was in another region and they wanted to mess with this region. They wanted this to be a little test for this region and to see how things would go. But I don't believe that there were no terms of service that I agreed to whenever I accessed the game. There wasn't anything that I was like messing with or breaking. So I believe that I was probably in the right with making it and showing a tutorial on how other people can access it. And they just didn't want that to happen. And that's why I received that. Now, on a more minor level, though this is still an issue, copyright claims. A lot of these are automated. Some of them are not. There are some companies that have publicly spoken out against them and said, hey guys, if you have an issue with our stuff, come to us. We'll get it settled. We like people on YouTube making videos. I don't remember any of those companies specifically because it's been a while since it's been like a huge issue. There was a time where it really peaked and then I thought it was going down, but people are bringing it up again. So I don't know if there's been some recent event that sparked this off. I'm assuming there is. I don't know if it was some huge thing or just happened to one person or another, or maybe people are just fed up, which, hey guys, I'm fed up too. I had recently my yokai watch, I believe I received, there are some videos I have multiple copyright claims on. I think I got 30 claims, or no, 25 claims for a 15 video series, or maybe there's 8 videos and I got 15. Either way, multiple claims on the same video. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. That's like, why? Well, why even file multiple? Some of them had 3 as well. I don't remember the numbers of the videos. Like I don't remember how many I made and how many claims I got, but I remember 1 on all of them. Some had 2, some had 3. That's crazy. Nintendo stuff always gets flagged, even if it's not a first-party game. I don't know why. And Yokai Watch, of course, only available on the 3DS and Nintendo platform. Again, no idea why. Wind Waker, last time I did that got flagged. And it's just some of the kind of newer stuff. Like if I did stuff on the GameCube, it's generally okay. But if I dispute it, then I have to wait at least a month before I can do anything with it, which I think is the biggest thing when dealing with the fair use claims. People saying, hey, no, this isn't fair use. This is my stuff. I don't like you doing this. And YouTube, because it's very time-centric. A lot of people, whenever they... it depends on how you build up your content, but for most people, it's time-sensitive. So after 30 days, what they have done becomes very much so less popular than it was 30 days before it. It kind of almost invalidates claiming it to begin with. Like 30 days, for a lot of people, their videos just get the bulk of it within the first few, and then it dies down. There's some where they do the opposite. They ramp up after a certain amount of time, but it's strange to assume that would happen. It's strange to be like, oh, okay, well, this is fine, because people, it won't even affect them. Because for most people, that isn't the case. Their stuff doesn't ramp up. I've established this brand or audience, and they know of my schedule, and so they follow it, and it doesn't take them a month to find my stuff. Now, I think a big issue with this is YouTube is international. There are many different countries which see fair use differently than others do, and also there's a huge gray area between fair use. So fair use, generally speaking, consists of parody. That's almost not gray area. Parody's pretty well established as being okay to do. Non-profit educational uses, that is kind of like it's normally limited. So like limited proportions of photocopies teachers will use for classroom use. That's not really something that pertains to this. But that's why you don't really have a bunch of like people going in and suing teachers. Generally, that's considered fair use. Research and scholarship, okay? So if you quote a passage for technical work or scientific work or scholarly work, you're just doing research. You're making an illustration or clarifications on an author's observations or their statements. That's generally considered okay. News reporting most certainly is considered okay. And that's what I think a lot of people that talk about this, a lot of people I've seen anyway, are talking about news reporting, kind of, where they summarize something or they add a clip of something, they have brief quotations, and they call action to something, they address something. And then criticism and comment, which is more so kind of what I would do. I don't know. It's this weird mix of, like, in some ways, how you look at gaming on YouTube, it's totally okay. And then in others, how you look at it, it's not okay under what defines currently fair use. Even though a lot of developers would argue, okay, like, forget what this country says about fair use or that. A lot of people would argue that creating video game content on YouTube is a transformative work. You're taking what's there and you're adding your own thing to it, so it then modifies it. So you are providing something that is completely different from what the person who would be buying that product would be getting. Me going in and playing through an open world game is completely different from how you would do it and how you would talk. Or you may not even talk and I'm talking, and so it adds this whole other layer to it. Or, you know, there's so many different ways you can go about looking at it. And so a lot of people ask the question, where is the fair use? And I think we should be establishing what is the fair use, which is scary because it's strange to think other people controlling things that you have been doing and it has been okay for you to do, and that maybe somehow this could go bad. Maybe somebody could change it and be like, no, you aren't allowed to do that. That's not fair use. In which case, you can always get permission to override it. So it isn't that bad. Again, a lot of developers have come out and they're like, hey guys, it's totally okay for you to use this stuff. I understand that it's transformative. I understand that this sometimes actually gives me a lot of sales. Look at Minecraft, for example. There's so many games that have blown up in popularity because of the internet, or because of YouTube. I can think of Firewatch is the hot one right now. Hot one right now, get it? Yeah, really good. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I think Minecraft was the good old one that showcased that you could make a huge franchise off of that. I mean, how can you argue that that isn't transformative? Like, Minecraft didn't even have a story for the longest part. So I definitely think that is a huge one. You look at Minecraft, you go, wow, okay, clearly the internet built this game for other people. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that YouTube made this game what it is. Oh, and then the other one I was going to go to, Firewatch is the new one, and then a little while back, a really popular one was Undertale. Hugely popular. And I'm most definitely attributing that to social media, YouTube, things of that nature. And then we can go back in the past and look at even more of them, like Five Nights at Freddy's, for example. But I could go on and on about the hot fad game to play, and I'm not really going to. These are all showcasing indie games that did not have an established brand before, and then all of a sudden had multiple sequels after like Five Nights at Freddy's, or just amassed a huge company and got a documentary, and then eventually sold their company and made a very large sum of money. Minecraft, and then I don't know how Undertale's success has really been for them. I don't know how much monetary or how much like fame they've gotten from the game. I just know that it's been immensely popular, and I'm sure they're happy with that. So clearly there's benefits to having this thing around, to doing this, to having fair use established, and be able to it's not just like like the little guy's kind of doing whatever he wants with the big guy. And again, we're talking on indie's standpoint, so it doesn't even really matter. But like, it's not just like it doesn't really do anything either way, so it should be fine. It's like no, I can totally see in some cases how it would hurt someone, but that's the case that it should most definitely be okay. That's like news reporting, that's criticism, that's comment, that's showing off. It's totally okay for you to review products. That most certainly, that would be ridiculous if you were not allowed to do that, okay? That is 100% allowed. You can go, this thing is bad, and then show off the bad thing. You can take Assassin's Creed and then show off the horrible face morphing thing, or like glitching through the ground, or something like that. And they are not supposed to be allowed to take down things. And I guess a lot of people have been talking about copyright claim abuses and DMCA abuse, which I definitely do think exists, and I've had it happen to me. I told you, the only strike I've ever gotten is because they didn't want my tutorial that featured no gameplay to be shown. Like, it had none. There was nothing that it should have gotten taken down for. 100% just educational. And that got taken down. And it was clear that was just so they could prevent people from finding out about it. Kind of like, I know Sega before. I don't know how they are now. I'm not trying to start like a storm with Sega or be like, hey, Sega's not cool. Sega had a new title in a series, and what they ended up doing is to boost their search results. They took down a ton of videos on the previous title in that series. And so whenever you would search up the game, their things would be at the top as opposed to other people's. That is clearly abusing the DMCA system. You weren't supposed to do that to like just net an advantage. You're supposed to try and take. I think it's probably pretty obvious that you weren't supposed to do that. But there doesn't really seem to be a lot of repercussions, I think, is the biggest thing that people don't like. Whenever somebody takes their profit for 30 days and then they appeal it and then the 30 days is over, they don't get anything out of that except they go, oh, hopefully they won't do it again. That's what they get. Because they don't have to respond in 30 days. They have a 30-day like legal window in which you can respond, which is, it's okay to have the window. The window definitely needs to be there. There needs to be time to respond in case this is legitimate. But the thing with everything being in the now, being the time difference, like legal action is known to take a very long time, whereas the internet and popularity and how everything works is known to take a very short time. And so this can kind of just muck it up. I mean, if you look at there, there's a lot of things at where you can look at people sandbagging companies, and pretty much what they want to do is just to give them headache. They just want to give them legal fees to mess with them because it takes so long, and they can stretch it out and they can keep it going and all of these things like that. And that see, I don't think a lot of people have had cases elevate. It's pretty much just okay, we get it, we'll back off kind of thing. But that would be so much worse. Like, it could be so much worse. And I'm not saying that makes it okay. It should definitely be better. I don't even really know why I brought that up, actually. It's bad. It can be bad. There needs to be a time for response, but these people are abusing the time to response and then keeping what they got from that window. They're using the window as a month paid week, pay month. A month, pay month. They're using it as a payday. They get a payday out of the pay month, is what I'm trying to say. So that's bad. And I guess that's really pretty much it. To generalize, my opinion is that I think stuff is not used in the correct way. Also, YouTube has their own terms of service, so they can make it where things are not the same as posting to your own website. If you absolutely hate what's happening on YouTube, that's totally fine, and I think that it should be improved. But a good way to sidestep some of this is to feature your own content on something that you personally own or something that has terms of service different to YouTube's. So if you don't like that people can just go ahead and automatically have a bot automatically decide what they think should and shouldn't be there, then you can subsidize this by having your own material. And I strongly suggest having a place to put your stuff there that isn't YouTube. For example, you look at like Team 4-Star, their YouTube channel gets taken down. It used to a ton. Abridgers used to get things taken down all the time. It got taken down really recently, and they had all their stuff on their own personal website. And you know what? No one attacked them. No one went after their own personal website, because fair theuse, tackling fair use on other websites, for a lot of people, I think for the most part, just isn't even really worth it. Because there's a lot of complications with it. Whereas YouTube, they've simplified it to be able to mess with people. So I definitely think there's an issue in the current system we have. I don't think it's so much that there's too much power in one hand, and I think we just need to maybe give a little more to the individual users, have a better way to stop it. If there's some way to make it where if a person's done multiple offenses and they've held on to that 30-day window every time, maybe the window shortens. I don't know. There are plenty of different things that we could talk about, fixing it or not fixing it, but that's probably for another video. Anyway, I will leave you with that.